Several women have said that you made them uncomfortable, you continued to harass them.
No comment.
This clip from early 2018 highlights the case at the center of the new report. It shows now former State Senator Jeff Cruz dodging mounting accusations of sexual harassment, including those from State Senator Sarah Gelser.
This is supposed to be a harassment-free workplace. It is supposed to be safe for everyone.
Among her accusations, Gelser said Cruz on separate occasions touched her breasts and her thigh. Cruz eventually resigned. This week's 52-page Bureau of Labor and Industries report calls Gelser credible and details responses from legislative leaders. The report claims House Speaker Tina Kotek told Gelser it would be hard to move forward with her complaints because people found her unlikable. In another incident, investigators say Senate President Peter Courtney yelled at Gelser while discussing the harassment in a cafe. He reportedly later apologized. In a statement, Courtney said, "I have never knowingly allowed harassment to go on. I have taken severe actions beyond my authority to stop it." Kotek on Facebook confirmed the story about her conversation with Gelser, writing, quote, "I deeply regret that I hurt Senator Gelser or made her feel less supported." She then added she vehemently disagrees with a number of conclusions in the report. Then there were the accusations outside the Cruz case. The report alleges State Representative David Gomberg asked for birthday spankings from interns and joked about one being a stripper. It also says Representative Bill Post touched a female staffer's leg at a bar and texted her that his wife was out of town. Post denied the accusations via email. Gomberg has yet to respond to our inquiries. An attorney hired by the legislature called the report biased.
I think this report, frankly, is rather replete with omissions of things that they know, because I sat in on many of the interviews they did. In fact, 10 of the interviews they did I sat in on. And the information that's necessary to make a final determination on how do we go forward was simply left out of the report.
All right, so what happens now? Well, that's up to Oregon's next labor commissioner. The current one, Brad Avakian, had his last day on the job today. His successor, Val Hoyle, is being sworn in on Monday.